Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, just relax those eyelids, enabling them to feel heavier and heavier. Just imagine what they would feel like if they were so heavy, weighed down, that it almost felt like they were stuck shut, that the harder you try to open them, the tighter they become. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just scan your body for any clues of tension. That might be tension in your jaw, your forehead, your neck, your shoulders. And I want you to imagine as you breathe in, you're breathing in a wonderful warm sensation of relaxation that is just melting away any tension, any stress, any anxiety, to the extent that as you exhale, you can feel that evaporated, diluted tension leaving your body in your outward breath, just enabling you to become more and more relaxed, deeper and deeper relaxed with each and every breath. As your body relaxes, I want you to think of a time, perhaps many years ago, when you were traveling, having an adventure. The kind of time where perhaps you were doing things that were fulfilling, exciting. At that time in your life, I want you to recall that you were doing things for yourself simply because you chose to. You didn't have to meet any criteria, cross off any to-do lists. It wasn't required of you to earn these experiences. You just accepted back then that you were worthy, that it was your right to enjoy your life. And I want you to remember the kind of things you were doing back then, and to step into that version of you that already feels what it feels like to feel worthy, to feel that this is your life and you're able to make your choices, to do things that make you feel good. And in doing so, I want you to recall perhaps an evening around that time. Maybe you can even recall the room or the bed, feeling your head on the pillow, body sinking into that bed. How effortless it was for you to drift off into a deep, wonderful sleep because you didn't need to earn it. Can you imagine the kind of world we would live in if governments or dictators said that people could only sleep if they met certain strict criteria? It almost seems like a dystopian fairy tale of nightmare proportions. And I want you to accept the idea that it is ludicrous, that you have to earn the right to sleep, that you have to earn the right to do the things that bring joy and peace and relaxation into your life. Certain things are just rights, not privileges that you earn. So as you connect into that idea, feel the weight of your head on that pillow, As I count down from 10 to 1, with each descending number, you will feel deeper and deeper relaxed. 10. Muscles in your neck just feeling loose and relaxed. That's it. 9. Head getting heavier and heavier. That's it. 8. Just all the muscles from your forehead, your jaw, all around your mouth, just releasing any tension, relaxing now. That's it. 7. Just feeling that wave of relaxation going into your neck and your shoulders. That's it. 6. Going all the way down your arms into your fingertips. 5, and then 4. Just even feeling that your internal organs can relax. Your heart, your lungs, your stomach, your diaphragm can all just release any tension. 4. That relaxation goes into your gut, just releasing any anxiety. 3. Going down into your legs. Feel your legs there on that bed, feeling limp, loose, heavy, just like your arms. Feeling now like a puppet without any strings. Arms and legs just feeling completely loose and limp by your side. 2, and then 1, just feeling what it would be like to drift off into a deep sleep that's a dreamlike sleep. 2, and then 1, just drift off into this dreamlike sleep. And sometimes when we dream, we go back in time and revisit memories. And I want you to revisit memories of perhaps your teenage years. Maybe you did something good in school. Maybe you can hear the voices of teachers or family members telling you that you're smart, you're going to have an amazing career. And I want you to feel that you buy into that future. And perhaps you made an image briefly as to what that future would look like. And a seed was planted that is the representation of success, which is no bad thing, unless a definition of success means that if you fail to live up to that arbitrary decision, somehow you're not enough. You're not worthy. You're not worthy of living life and enjoying life. And I want you to imagine something happened, perhaps early 20s, where it became more and more difficult to pursue that arbitrary definition of success. And suddenly you felt like you had to make up for it in other areas. You had to earn these rights to do basic necessities. And I want you to imagine a farcical situation where there at that time you got arrested. And you asked the obvious question, what are you arresting me for? And you can hear maybe a police officer saying, you're not enough. You're not worthy to exist unless you meet conditions. And that would be a bizarre situation, but it gets even worse. Imagine that the arrest turns into a charge, and the charge turns into a trial. And the evidence is that because perhaps when you were a teenager, maybe 13 or 14 years old, you created an idea of what success looks like, because you haven't lived up to that arbitrary definition of success, therefore we find you guilty of not being enough. And we're sentencing you to a life sentence where the only way you get to do what you want to do for you is if you're willing to sacrifice sleep. And if there's a part of your unconscious mind that thinks that this is ludicrous, unjustified, indefensible, that if this happened in reality, No court in the world would find someone guilty of such a crime. And even if they did, a single appeal would mean the conviction is overturned. If your unconscious mind agrees, then serving a sentence for unworthiness when there was no crime committed doesn't seem to make any sense. Let me know by nodding your head. From this point forwards, I want you to imagine a different framework for worthiness. Imagine rewinding your entire life to where a seed was planted as to what it takes to be worthy. And to be worthy doesn't mean that you meet and exceed the expectations of other people and even yourself. Let's create a new definition, that to be worthy is the default. And there is compelling evidence, rock solid evidence required to prove unworthiness. And there are cases in reality where that happens. Someone could be unworthy of being a mother. There are criminals and drug addicts, child abusers, that with rock-solid evidence they are proved unworthy to be a mother, and their children are taken away. But it requires that level of rock-solid evidence to make such an extreme decision. And I want you to search through all of your life experiences to see if you can find such rock-solid evidence to prove that you are not worthy to be deserving of good sleep, of self-love, of balance and harmony in your life. The harder you search, the more elusive it is, because perhaps this rock-solid evidence doesn't exist. And maybe it doesn't exist because your definition of unworthiness was not meeting an extreme classification and definition of success. But when it's inversed, and the default is that you are worthy, I want you to notice that the harder you try and find rock-solid evidence that you are unworthy, the more convinced you are of your own worthiness. And I want you to go on that search now. Spend just a minute or so looking for rock-solid evidence of your unworthiness, and in doing so, feel yourself becoming more and more worthy in the absence of that evidence. When your unconscious mind has decided that there is insufficient evidence to prove unworthiness, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to imagine a courtroom where this sentence, perhaps that you've been experiencing for more than 20 years, is finally overturned. I want you to imagine how you would feel if you were in jail for a crime you didn't commit and finally were given your freedom back. Tap into that feeling of relief. Tap into that feeling of a fresh start. And I want you to think how ludicrous it would be for someone to be locked up for a crime they didn't commit for 20 years, to then, when they're outside of a prison system, returning to a similar sized room, eating the same food in their home, the same lifestyle, when they have so much more choices. And therefore the same applies to you. If you are now free from this wrongful conviction of being unworthy, I want you to think of, what will you now do differently? Some criminals become institutionalized, that's all they know, but I want you to be different, to make the most of a life of worthiness. And maybe those times in the past where you just did nice things for yourself because you wanted to gives you an idea of what that life is like. You can still be responsible, still be caring and compassionate to those people that you love, but also treat yourself as someone that you love. They say that you can't pour from an empty cup, and therefore, the more you do for you, the more you are able to do for others. This is not a selfish thing. The most generous thing that you could do for you is to give all of these things that you've been holding back, including permission to have wonderful sleep. And if you're willing to do that, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to feel like it's time to return to the present. Imagine floating up from that bed from many years ago, floating all the way to the present, but feeling you're taking that wonderful feeling of worthiness with you, all the way into your body right now, feeling relaxed, resourceful, worthy. That anything other than rock solid evidence that you are unworthy means that you are deserving of a wonderful life, wonderful experiences, and wonderful sleep. As you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose, just return to the present and wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes, fully connect to the full present moment that you're in right now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling worthy, full of self-acceptance, and feeling that you're going to give yourself those things that you've been holding back. Starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.